This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, it's another great day at AuthorU. I'm so glad it's not raining here in Colorado, which is my home base. And I know where my guest is. He's in Texas, and it's probably not raining there. So, with that said, we're going to bring some rain into your life, but it's rain like in money. Rain like in...
Rainmaking.
Rainmaking. There we go. Rainmaking ideas that will deliver literally a gold mine that a lot of authors are not, number one, tuned into, aware of, and not sure if they've heard about it, not sure how to access it and use it. And it's called the public domain. With me is one of my favorite people in the whole world, Daniel Hall.
Oh.
And Daniel is really known as this master of the webinars, but really master of creating informational products and online resources for authors and publishers that really do enhance and soar their capabilities, their productivity, and their success. He's also the author of a lot of books, and one of my favorite ones is his latest, which is Real Fast Writing, which has over 25 awesome tips in it. And we're going to actually kiss a few of those before we exit today. But we have a lot to cover. I want to jump into the program right away. So welcome back to AuthorU, your guide to book publishing, Daniel.
Thank you for having me, Judith. It's always an honor and a privilege to get to chat with you and your community.
So, and I have to tell everyone, Daniel is going to be at the AuthorU Extravaganza in September, where you ought to be, the 7th to the 9th in Denver, Colorado, and he is going to actually going deep diving into the topic we're kissing today. So gold can come from every direction. So with that, Daniel, let's just talk about what is the public domain?
Well, I think this is a great topic for anyone that produces content of any kind, be it a fiction or nonfiction writer, a how-to writer, coach, trainer, consultant, even information product creators. They should know and be able to use the public domain. So let's first start by defining, because I bet a lot of folks don't know what public domain content is, and why it's so helpful or potentially helpful in the creation of anything that you're doing, and most especially any type of writing projects. So the public domain, Judith, is really any type of content that is written. It could be music. It could be film. It could be just about any type of media that is available to everyone to use without paying royalties or asking anyone's permission to use it. So in many cases, this is where content was created. But there's really three sources of public domain content. The first source is content that the copyright has expired at some point in the past. So the content is no longer covered by copyright. And in that instance, that content, as soon as it's no longer protected by copyright, automatically passes into the public domain, which means anyone could use it for any purpose without asking anyone's permission or paying royalties on it. The second is when a creator of content actually just puts the whole creative work directly into the public domain, which happens more frequently than you might think. to give you a very good example that a lot of people might know about, is it was like when the Grateful Dead, the concert or the musical group from basically a legendary rock group, they allowed their fans to like record their shows, and if you go to you could find their shows and so forth, and then they'd also allow them to do clothes and so forth based on on the band, and they allow that into the public domain. That's just one example of it, and one of the reasons why artists do this is because of the viral nature that it causes for them. So, in other words, you have a lot of people sharing your stuff because it is in the public domain. More people are apt to share it, and you become bigger and bigger and so forth. So that's one example of an artist just putting their stuff directly into the public domain. And I'm not saying, by the way, that the Grateful Dead put all their music into the public domain. They did not, but they took one aspect of it, one sort of the bundle of sticks of rights, like we would say in law school, and cleaved off that one thing where they allowed folks to video record, and bootleg record their music. The third big part of this is where the content was never eligible for copyright in the first instance. So this is stuff where, like, for example, I'll give you a really good example, and one that you should get really excited about, that everything that the U.S. government produces, and by the way, they are the largest producer of content in the world, the U.S. federal government, almost everything, I won't say everything, but almost everything, 99.99% of everything the U.S. federal government produces goes directly into the public domain because it's not even eligible for copyright. And again, the rationale behind that is if the folks, if taxpayer money has paid for the material, which of course they have, then the stuff does not even is not eligible for public domain because it's created for the public in the first instance. And I'll just tell you that some of the biggest treasure troves in my business I have found within U.S. federal government materials. And by the way, I should say that this kind of material done by the U.S. federal government is usually super high quality stuff because they have the money, that is our money, to hire some of the best experts, some of the most credentialed PhDs to do research and write this stuff. And so that's all available to all of us, in the public domain. So that's, I know that's kind of a long explanation of what public domain content is, but I think it's important, if you've never heard of the concept, that you know all of that.
Daniel, that reinforcement about the government, people just don't think about that. And one of these speakers at the AuthorU extravaganza, September 7th and 9th, is Molly Koszulski. And Molly happens to be the director of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And she covers the 9 states out in here. And I was talking to her because she's done a couple of presentations for us. And I asked her, as people are asking about slides, she says, well, of course you can have all our slides. The government, that you guys pay for them. Of course you can have all the slides. What would you like? And what other stuff do you want? And so tapping into what the government creates is, you're literally correct in saying it is a treasure trove of information that we just don't think about. And they pour buku monies into studies and things that would be like white papers and surveys that anyone who is, especially in the nonfiction realm, you can really milk that. Well, I am holding in my hand a book that was created from the public domain. And one of our authors, Philippa Burgess, found this book called Inspiration and Ideals that was originally printed in 1910. And her copy was the 10th reprint that was in 1917 that she found in a garage sale and bought for a couple of bucks. And it is so fingered and proofed through that it has been an inspiration for her since she was a young teen, that she has decided that, I'm just going to modernize it and update it. So the original author was Grenville Kleiser. He was born in Canada and then died in New York. But that she took that and morphed it, and it's it's a little bit more contemporary than when, let's say, it was back in 1910, and really laid it out lovely, and it's a whole new book, and she's done quite well with it, and now her name is on the front of it, and I think I shared with you the other day when we were chatting that each year at my Judith Briles Book Publishing Unplugged, I always take a kid's book and I do a creativity exercise. And one of the exercises was to rewrite the book. They're told to write on the illustrations and bring it into your imagination. One year I did a thing that had bunnies. The book was about bunnies, battle bunnies. And I had 30 people with 30 different, we had the menopause bunny, we had the kung fu bunny, we had the helicopter bunny, we had the kick-ass bunny. We had more bunnies with in the title, how these people had fun and played with it. This year we did Pinocchio. And what I didn't realize that Pinocchio, as well as many of the fairy tales, are in the public domain. And that all the different authors that showed because I had to buy 50 books this year, and all the books that had different authors on it with just a little bit of a twist, but the story is the same. So the bottom line is what Daniel and I are going to tell. We're going to jump into our first break, but what we're telling you is that there is a gold mine here that you may not have realized, that you may be working on something that you could pull information and you don't have to worry about piracy. You don't have to worry about plagiarism. It just takes you and credentials you and takes you to another level. Pretty exciting. All right, with that, we're going to take a break. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Alrighty, so we're this is kind of a holy guacamole topic. I think that you all need to use that. And since guacamole is green, I think of money is green or gold, but it's usually green here. And that what we're really talking about is how to take you and your ideas in your books and to, one, enhance what you're currently working on, or, holy moly, how about creating something new that was somebody else's with your twist, your voice, your feel to it. But all the principles are laid out. The whole outline is due to you, but it's just kind of ancient. And it needs to be brought back to life in today's language and presentation, the way people think and read, like Philip Burgess did with Inspiration and Ideals. So, Daniel, what do you think about that kind of idea?
I love that idea. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that we teach, and one of the things I want folks to actually think about is if this resonates with you, you're like, whoa, this is like so cool. You want to get on a plane, you want to get on a train, you want to get on a bus, you want to get in a car, you do whatever you need to do to get to the AuthorU extravaganza, because I am going to be teaching some stuff I've never taught publicly before. And it is, let me just tell you, it'll be worth the trip just for my talk. Okay. I guarantee that. I mean, and that's not hyperbole or has no reflection on me. It's just what I'm going to share is just like off the charts. So back to your question here, Judith. Really important is the idea that what Philippa did very smartly, and one of the things that I teach as well, is she actually took and added her own value to that book. She had her own ideas. She's updated the language. She made it more understandable for this era, for the present day. When you do this, when you add your own content, your own thesis, your own thoughts to the underlying work, something magical happens with it at that point. It becomes what is known as a derivative work. Now, what's really interesting about a derivative work from a copyright law standpoint is that everything that Philippa added to that book then becomes copyrightable in and of itself. So the core content stays in the public domain. Once something passes into the public domain, it doesn't come back out. However, anything that you add to it makes it become a derivative work, which makes it really, really good. Makes it excellent, in fact. Mm-hmm. So, so that's one of the things that we teach, how to go about doing that, why you do that, and most importantly, how you use the public domain to actually put more cash in your bank account.
Which is a good thing.
It's an excellent thing, because I think when it comes down to it, Judith, you and I both stand for one core principle, and that is to bring more abundance into the lives of people that we help. I mean, I know that that's one of the reasons why you and I resonate at such a high level together, because we're of one mind when it comes to that. We do it in different ways, but the same aim. And this is just one sort of part of that. And, you know, the other really interesting thing, and I wanted to kind of circle back to this idea of using government public domain content. because if you are in like some huge niches, like the health niche, I want folks to realize that there are like a bunch of national institutes of health, which are a part of the U.S. federal government, by the way, okay? So almost everything that comes out of the National Institutes of Health, and I think there's, 20, 30 of them. I actually don't know how many of them, but there's a bunch of them. They almost all do research. They almost all publish research, and all of that is available, again, for your use. And again, that's a really, really cool thing. And then if you're in the, for example, the exercise niche,
Mm-hmm.
well, the nice thing about the exercise niche, well, anything that the military puts out. So all the calisthenics trainings of the Navy SEALs and
wow, that's
oh,
huge.
Yes.
That's huge. And the other thing really is that I have several authors who write in the nutritional and the body, spirit, that whole area.
Yes.
And there is a boatload of information dealing with nutrition. It's off the walls that they can snag.
Oh, yes. I mean, and there's so many things you could do with it. And again, the beautiful thing about the whole undertaking is that all right, so I call it for many writers, I call it the tyranny of the blasted blinking cursor. That is when you sit down to write and to churn out content, right, for whatever your writing project is. You open up your word processing program and you see this blinking cursor and this sort of sea of white, and it kind of mocks you. At least sometimes that's the way it feels to me, and I'm sure people listening can relate to this. But the beautiful thing about using public domain content is that you can take pieces and parts and use it to kind of get things rolling, to get some words on the page so that you can kind of build on it. It's kind of like a foundation, like a brick in a building or a house that you're making. So I love it from that standpoint as well. It kind of gets you off the dime. It gets you some initial momentum working in your writing projects, because I think you and I both can agree, I believe, that the more that your authors can actually complete something that they've started, the more good that they could do by and through their words, and the more money they will make, the greater the impact they will have. And of course, that makes you and I know, because I think that's what makes us both tick. We like to see our folks succeeding and helping them build a platform and help, and then basically all the people that they help, we have helped because we helped them in the first instance, right? So that's a very, very cool thing. And one of the things that I want folks to understand about just how powerful public domain content is, because it can get you that much further down the line. And that's a really, really cool thing. It's exciting. You can tell. I get very, very enthusiastic about this topic just because I've seen how it has transformed parts of my business. And I know that if people can really understand and grasp the concept, that it could really help them as well.
Well, I'm curious, Daniel. I mean, I know that you've played around with this for a while. How many times have you used that you can think of that you've actually published stuff that has come off the domain? Tails out of school, huh?
Yeah. So I have in let's see, it's probably been 8 years, 7 years, 6 years. Let's see. Well, no. Yeah, it's been about. I started, I think, in about 2010, so it's been about 7 years to publish to Kindle. And in that time, I have published over 2,500 public domain-based titles to Amazon Kindle, which over the years have brought in tens of thousands of dollars passively to my bank account. And so there you have it. And a couple other things I should tell you. Mm-hmm. May I disclose some caveats, some of the trapdoors?
That was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you, what kind of snafus could we run into?
Oh yeah, so let me tell you a couple of them.
Okay.
The three big ones, of course, are you publish something that you think is in the public domain, but which it really is not. The second big thing is when you publish a work like everything, as I said, that like almost everything that the U.S. federal government does is in the public domain. However, you cannot use, for example, let's say something came from the Health and Human Services Department. You cannot use their emblem, their seal. To use the seal is in fact I don't know if it's a crime, but it's definitely a civil penalty to use the seal. So you can't make out like you're publishing this for the federal government. In other words, you could use the content, you could use the words, but you cannot use anything that you are in place of or doing this on behalf of or as an agent of the U.S. federal government. So that's a no-no when it comes to that. And then let's see. We talked about not being under copyright. We talked about there's the other big problem with it is if you are publishing to Amazon Kindle, and I'm going to talk much more about this when I chat about it at Extravaganza. But there are certain things you must do for public domain and using public domain content when you're publishing to Amazon or to Kindle. So those are really the three big sort of
biggies. Yeah. But the bottom line, I think what we're trying to get across, and we're going to kiss our next break, but that if you don't know about it, for heaven's sakes, explore the possibility of seeing how you can incorporate this and expand what you do. That's the exciting thing to me. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
So with me is Daniel Hall today, and we're really talking about a treasure trove of possibilities for you, from getting material to augment and supplement it could be blogs or articles, or is really gutting a book, inserting it into a book, filling in major sections to bring something up to date that you found that you just was so hot and the copyright, had expired and was never renewed, extended. That there's just a lot you can do here, and just authors, most of us just don't think of it. We think that we always have to do everything from scratch original, and there may be something out there that could seed you and expand you, or number two, you've already got that original baby out there, and maybe you're pooped, but there may be some other things that are out there that could be wonderful complementary items that you could repurpose and you could push out. Do you want to comment on that, Daniel?
Yeah, speaking of that, I mean, there are so many great classic books. Speaking of being just tired, but wanting to publish something, a new thing. One of the things that you could do with especially public domain materials is you can develop workbooks and study guides around like Philippa's book, for example. You could do a really cool little study guide that goes with that, that accompanies that book. Study guide / journal around that idea. So so there is definitely that sort of thing. And one I remember another trapdoor, if I could just say real quick. When it comes to the U.S. federal government stuff, I want to make sure I'm very clear on this point, Judith, that it is only U.S. federal government content that is in the public domain, which means that that doesn't apply to states, doesn't apply to counties, doesn't apply to municipalities, or any other jurisdiction below the U.S. federal government. So I just want to make sure everyone knew that.
Yeah, which is very exciting. So did you get into the, you and I were talking, and I, sometimes I don't know where my conversation all got. Did you get into the Project Gutenberg and some of the things that are going on there?
Yeah, so another great resource.
Yeah.
There's two resources folks should know about if they're interested in this. The first one is USA.gov. That's sort of like the Google search engine for the U.S. federal government. Which means you can go and search, put in your topic name and then .pdf, and you can get all kinds of public domain stuff that way that's already in PDF format, for example. Second is the Project Gutenberg, which they're sort of like the granddaddies, the grandmas in this area, because they were the very first ones on the scene publishing public domain material to the internet. And it's at Gutenberg.org, like the guy that did the first press. I don't know how to spell it, but you just put in Gutenberg.org, and you can see there like some of their top sellers, and they're not really selling because it's, again, free to use. But I mean, just to kind of give you an idea of what's there. I mean, you can in fact look for things like like Machiavelli's The Prince in the public domain. Most of the Grimm's fairy tales in the public domain. I think they're all in the public domain. I mean, there are literally Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland in the public domain. And this is you wonder about how do writers and companies like Disney and Marvel and Universal, why do they keep coming back to certain characters? Well, they do, like Pinocchio. You were mentioning about the Pinocchio book, right? They do.
That was such a surprise for me. I mean, it really was surprised to see 24 different editions of Pinocchio.
Exactly. And that's kind of the point. It is that you can do that. They do that because they can, and so can you. You could do the same exact thing that Project Gutenberg or that Disney and Marvel and all these other companies. I'm looking right now on Gutenberg.org, and their top 100 ebooks that were downloaded as of yesterday: Pride and Prejudice, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Tale of Two Cities, The Romance of Lust, From Job to Job Around the World by Alfred Charles Ben Fletcher, Grimm's Fairy Tales. Here's one. You're going to love this one, everyone. Write this one down. This is a writer down. The Kama Sutra.
I think that's for relief with what's going on politically.
I think so too.
Oh dear. Okay. So let me tell everyone how to spell it. It's with one T, and it's Gutenberg. So as Daniel said, you just go to Gutenberg.org, and they have over 54,000 free ebooks. But I mean, they have a little caveat on there. I mean, these are, outside in the U.S., free to download. They're outside of their copyright areas. But if you're going to go up, if you're going to do this thing, let's say you do this, you slap your name involved, you've got it out there, maybe you tweaked it a little bit. You need to really make sure that, because if you put it up on Amazon, which I know you're going to, is that Amazon goes everywhere. And it may not be okay to sell it in Japan or something. So you need to really check out if there's any provisions.
I can answer that question right now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, as long as you're publishing it here in the States, and you're making it available from the States, you should not have a problem with it. You should not have a problem with it.
So we just don't make it available for global distribution. Is that correct?
I mean, I would.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah,
what the heck, right?
Unless there is I mean, if you want to be extra specially safe, I would just publish it in the United States. But for most of these works, the vast, especially these older ones, and I know the U.S. federal government, because a copyright never attached to that, then you should be all right. You should be just fine.
Well, that would be a kick, Daniel. We can just get the Kama Sutra and just slap our name on it. What the heck?
Hey! But wouldn't it be fun to do some illustrations? Bring a photographer in. Get with your mate. Just try everything out. There you go.
Yeah,
that would
right.
add value. Talk about derivative product. That would be it.
It just for morbid curiosity. All right. So with that,
Exactly.
oh my gosh, where are we going with this thing?
I guarantee you, we have people's interest.
Exactly. All right. So with that said, everyone, that the public domain really is a gold mine. There's so much you can learn and use, and just, explore the Gutenberg.org and discover. I mean, we're talking ebooks. That is so easy to do, maybe a morphine. I'm going to encourage you to, there might be some fun stuff, but there may be some really interesting things that are absolutely, as I said, complementary to what you're doing. And that would make absolutely full sense to really tie it on and hook it on and make it an offering for your fans and your readers. So Daniel, we're going to we're 2 minutes from break. So I would like to introduce real fast writing to our listeners, and then we'll cover it during the last area. And the reason why I like this book, because Daniel has embraced kind of my format, short is the new black, and that you can really get into things quickly and ideas. There's over 25 really fast tips that you can really take it and run with it. And one that Daniel and I were talking about the other day was that people don't realize how easy it is to record, whether you're recording on your mobile, whether you have some other program, and then pay someone to transcribe it. And voila, you've got a draft to work on. So Daniel, why don't you kiss that one, and then we're going to take a break.
All right, yeah, absolutely. The really cool thing about the record and transcribe method, which is tip number 1 in the Real Fast Writing book, which, by the way, is available on Amazon, is the fact that you can get a lot more words out if you are speaking them versus if you're typing them on the computer. And in that tip, we discuss how to go about doing exactly that, so that you have a starting place. And then it's just a matter of polishing once you have them transcribed. And when we come back, I'll tell you a great place to get your transcriptions done cheap, cheap, cheap.
And we love cheap, cheap, cheap. Anything that'll save us some money and time. Home run in my field. All right. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. With me today is Daniel Hall, the awesome Daniel Hall, who will be speaking at the AuthorU Extravaganza, as well as myself and a lot of other terrific people.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207. Or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, real fast writing for real fast authors. Ooh, okay, so that goes back to the Kuma Sutra. Okay, so all right, so we're talking about, he teased us as we went into the break. Daniel Hall teased us on his tip number 1 was to really transcribe. To transcribe. Transcribe. And he was going to give us a hot tip on where we're going to, really a fast way to do it on both sides. So go, Daniel.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I love to do. I love to get on something called Google Hangouts and basically just talking to a Google Hangout where it makes a little video and whatnot. And then it actually gets uploaded into YouTube. And then you take that file, that YouTube file, which, by the way, you can make private or unlisted, so it doesn't have to go out to everyone. And you send it to, or you actually start an account at rev.com, rev.com. Because at rev.com, get this, they will charge you $1 for every minute, okay? $1 a minute. And in most cases, it's back within 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. So it's a really great use, I think, of your time, and you can get lots of words, like I said, onto the page very, very quickly. And now you have a starting place, and that's really the bigger thing, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great idea. So you have a couple of other tips. I'm just going to share some of them because I use these. Is one, it could be start with an image, or it could be starting when that's your tip number 10, and tip number 9 is to start with a quote. And this actually works terrifically when you are stuck a little bit. I think that you can bring it together, and I was doing a writing exercise, and I can't even remember what the quote was, but it dealt with integrity, Daniel. Mm-hmm. And it was a quote about integrity. And I ended up doing a fast 2-minute write on comparing prostitution to publishing. And my conclusion...
I hear a theme emerging here. Go ahead.
You triggered it. My theme was there was more integrity in prostitution than in publishing, because you knew how much it cost, you knew what you were going to get, and you knew how long it'd take.
Yeah, and you know you got the payoff. So I understand. I do not disagree with that at all. I mean, that's a really, really interesting take. And we should talk about that, because this is what Judith just did there is a really great creative mechanism for your writing. It's basically to take two seemingly unrelated topics and join them and talk about them, because it allows two things to happen. Number one, it allows you to think about the relationships between these two seemingly unrelated things, and number two, in your analysis of it and in what you write about it, it actually exposes new thought patterns and new neural synaptic connections with your readers, which also, of course, help them. So if I update that book, I'm going to write that in. That's a really great tip, little bonus tip that Judith just gave you there. Thank you for that, Judith.
Oh, and it's not copyrighted. Okay, so.
It is now. We spoke it. It's copyrighted now.
There we go. But I think it's really important to think that sometimes when you're stuck, you need to be quirky and a little off the wall, and you go in and let your imagination roll with you. Because so many times, and I'm going to go back to tip number one, which was to record and transcribe. That when I first started writing, and I didn't know I was going to be writing. I didn't realize that books bred books and all those things. That I recorded, and it was a class I taught on publishing and on money, financial planning, which is where I was many, many years ago. That's what I did. And that we recorded an entire day class, but it was one where I spoke it to someone opposite me who then would grill me with questions that he would have as he heard me spoke. And then we transcribed it and we took it from there. So there's things that you can do, and it will make a huge, huge difference to that. And we were just sitting with each other. So it was like having kind of a conversation. One of the problems with some of the recording, and Dragon Speak is certainly one of the big ones, is that if you plop yourself in front of the computer and start dictating, I'm going to guarantee you it'll stop your creativity and your flow, because you're going to think, oh, shoot, spelled it wrong. Oh my gosh, why'd I say it that way? And you're going to get in and start editing. And neither Daniel and I are going to propose you do that. Mm-mm. This is a dump, idea dump. Don't go for perfection here.
Yep, just getting words on the page in any which way you can. By the way, this is another thing that sort of popped into my head that I remembered that I have. I was talking about Rev.com as being a great transcription resource. I actually interviewed the CEO of Rev.com, a guy by the name of Jason Chicola, at realfastresults.com/26. There's a great interview there that we did called Innovative Ways to Use Transcriptions in Your Business. So if you are interested in this whole idea of record and transcribe, as we've kind of been talking about it, I would strongly recommend that you go check out that interview. It's free. To go to realfastresults.com/26, and you can just listen to it right there. No opt-in required. And even more and some different ideas for you transcription-wise there. The other thing I wanted to say, Judith, because I think it's really a very powerful strategy, is the fact that if you know where you're going as a writer, and what I mean by that is if you have a clear and detailed outline, a map, if you will, of what you're going to say, what the first thing you're going to discuss, the second thing you're going to discuss, and these major topic ideas. One of the ways that I like to create that outline is with the Amazon Look Inside feature that you can get. So here's the strategy. This is another tip that we cover in the Real Fast Writing book. And that is you can go to books in your genre related to your book, and go to the book listing and then click on the cover image of that particular book, and it will bring up the look inside feature for that book. And here's the rub. Here's the really cool thing. You can go and look through the table of contents for that particular book and the topic, the subject matter, and look at how that author organized it, what topics were covered and in which order. Now, the idea here is that you could use that as inspiration, as a springboard to get onto your own outline very, very quickly, using that intellectual intelligence that somebody already put into the topic. And I'm not saying that to copy it verbatim at all. I'm just saying, hey, use it as inspiration to go in your own way and think, like, I've often done this, Judith, and it's like, oh, I forgot about that topic, or I didn't think about that topic in this way. I should mention this too, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to tell folks about that tip as well. That's in Real Fast Writing.
All right, so a bunch of great ideas, everyone here, and you know, as time runs out, we go fast. The gold mine of the public domain is absolutely essential for all of you. Going to the AuthorU extravaganza, September 7th to 9th, Daniel will be there the whole time. The beauty of it, you know, I'm a big believer in clicking your way to learn information, all that, but I also am a huge believer in bricks, that you need to get face-to-face in front of people. You learn more. There's different takeaways. There's a different ahas come into place, and never devalue the power of just networking in person versus online. You know, do both, but combine them. And then lastly, the Real Fast Writing is available on Amazon, and just loaded with, I said, 25 plus tips to really move you forward fast and get information out to your fans, as well as add to your repertoire and your book offerings. And with that, Daniel, I want to thank you for being back again on AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. And I look forward to seeing you next month.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely rock the house, and I want everyone listening to be there. All
right. So you all have a great writing week. Enjoy the summer. And we'll see you in publishing. And for author success, our theme is Suck It Up, Buttercup, True Grit for Author Success. We'll see you next month.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week,